Alright, let's get right into it. So, one of the first things that you need to do, like let's say Raiden does his, like, super simple, right? Then he decides to block, right? And I block it. He's -6, it's clearly my turn, right? What options do you really have off of it? You can grab, maybe, go into your fastest mid, right? But let's say Raiden's being a little shit and he decides to poke right after, right? And then whatever, right? He gets to get poked out, or then sometimes he's just gonna beat me out, right? With his pokes or whatever, right? So one thing that you can do that kind of has an answer for him either being a respectful little shit or a disrespectful little shit. When I mean disrespectful, well, it means he finishes strings and then goes into a poke or whatever, blah blah blah, is you throw a poke and you cancel it into a special move. Every character is different, some are better than others, but for the most part, almost every character can do. I'm pretty sure every character can do this. Just some are way more unsafe than others. One character I do this a ton with is Frost. You are putting your nutsack on the line. You are. But when it pays off, it pays off. So let me explain it to you. So let's say Raiden does his string. I block that shit, it's my turn. Now he's blocking, waiting for me to waiting for me to poke, or waiting for me to do my mid or whatever, right? And he's waiting for the poke, waiting for the mid, he's waiting for the grab, he's waiting for whatever, right? What happens is I give him false hope. I say, oh, he throws a poke, oh, it's my turn, I'm gonna go back. And instead he gets hit with this. So let's make Raiden do this, right? And he's gonna jump out, right? And he's gonna get hit right here, check. And then he get hit with that, or he tries doing something like that. That's guaranteed damage right there. But you're not gonna be doing that for the most part. Well, if you're using Frost, I'm gonna be going into this, or maybe going into this just to throw my opponent off. But for the most part, he can't jump out, he can't disrespect me, and he has to be just a little bit more patient because he's gonna get hit with this. Now if he gets hit with this, it's just mind games. I can get unbreakable damage, restamp, +16, I get the grab somehow. Doing this can literally lead you to a lot of places. One of them is to victory, and then another one is getting fucking punished by it because it is unsafe. But some characters have some pokes that are safe or whatever. But this just throws your opponent off completely. After he finishes his string, I would highly recommend doing this. It's going to make your opponent be more patient than he should be. Because, like, for example, he gets hit by this, that's dangerous. I could really just fucking ragdoll you from there. So once your opponent finishes their string, absolutely do that. Do a poke or whatever your character could do into a special move. The safer the better. If it's unsafe, you're gonna have to just risk it and put your nutsack on the table. It is what it is. But that's that. Another way of using it is when your opponent does a jump kick. Here's the thing: jump kicks are not as good as they used to be. Yeah, they're still hard to anti-air. Don't get me wrong, but you're not as plus as you used to be. All right. So you do a jump kick, right? Your opponent does a jump kick, and what you see a lot of people doing, especially really good players, they do this and then they block. They block because they're waiting for you to poke, because they don't know if they're plus or not. That's the thing. It's hard to tell if you're plus or not. It's hard to tell if, am I +3? Am I -2? Am I this? Am I that? Right? So instead, you throw a poke and go into that. With Scarlet, when I use Scarlet's third, I do this into Red Mist, and it makes my opponent be like, what the fuck is going on? So he does a jump kick, he blocks, and then I throw a poke, and he thinks, oh, it's his turn, and then instead he gets hit with this shit, and then I get a free mix-up on him. So doing pokes doesn't matter. Down 4, down 3, down 1 doesn't fucking matter. Doing that into special moves can get you so far. It really can. But at the same time, if it's unsafe, that's just a risk you're gonna have to take. But from my experience, when people do jump kicks and I block them and I mash on them, fuck it, I'm a masher. People get caught like that a lot. When people, like, on wake up, I'm being patient and then I do a poke into that. Or when people finish their strings, I do that just to throw them off. Because sometimes, yeah, I go into my fastest mid, and then they block that shit, and then what? This just throws your opponent off. It just gonna throw off, like, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck? So, that's that. Now, the next thing I'm gonna show you that's really gonna complement doing pokes into special moves is short hops. In my recent videos, I talk about this shit a lot. Because this is one thing I'm putting, like, good amount of time into. Short hops are a thing. They're real. Good round enders if your opponent is like 6%, 8%, 9%. They do 9%. I like the damage that they do. I think it's really good. And it really complements doing pokes into this right here. So now when you do pokes, your opponent is going to just block just a little bit extra. Because like, oh shit, he's going to do that fucking shit he's been doing all day. Instead, you go into a short hop. It's extremely, extremely important to do short hops. So now every time you do pokes, boom, you be a little bit respectful and do that. And check, here's the thing, right? Let's say Raiden's doing this shit, right? I blocked once, and then it bypasses it. Like, it just bypasses, and it's a punish. It bypasses grabs. So check this out. If Raiden decides to be a disrespectful, like, and I clearly block it, it bypasses it. All that shit. It bypasses grabs. It bypasses down 3s and down 4s. And then sometimes it's pretty funny when your opponent reacts just a little bit late and you see their down 1 coming out, and then your freaking short hop still lands. So staggering it is really, really good. Like with Frost, one thing I like to do with Frost, let's make him duck and do that, just to throw my opponent off. I like to do that. It's just the perfect amount of space, and then some characters down ones, they will actually miss completely, and just do that and just throw them off, let there be a mix-up, and then if I condition them for that, step back and do a sweep, whatever, little mix-up and stuff. So there's that. So just know, when your opponent hits you with a poke, you can literally short hop it, and then it will bypass any grabs, any down 3s, whatever. It won't bypass uppercuts, which you're gonna get caught eventually, and then your fastest mid. So let me show you. So say Raiden does this and then goes into that. I got caught. Oh, sorry. Just like that. It doesn't, or you know, you could do so. Yeah, you can jump out, whatever, blah blah. But for the most part, you're gonna get caught. Or even this. Sorry. Right there. You see that? Pretty sweet, right? So that's just one thing to know, that it bypasses a lot of things, and not only that, it's a knockdown. Your opponent gets knocked down to the ground, which is really good, because then you're gonna force them to waste resources. You have the advantage on them, whether however you see it. You're standing up, you have movement, he doesn't. He has to either waste his resources, hold block, or be a fucking masher dasher. You have the advantage. So I highly recommend adding short hops to your arsenal. It's really good. It's a game changer for some characters. It just adds a new element to your character. So there's that. And the last one is one I'm working on, and yeah, I've been putting a good amount of time. I'm still not fully comfortable with doing this because I'm super aggressive how I play. But I've been being more patient, just doing anti-airs and stuff like that. But what that is grabbing after pokes. So let's say Raiden, he just starts down 1-ing me, right? I get to grab him, no matter what. If he decides to do this and go into his highs, sorry. What is going on? I get to grab him. Or if he decides to do this into that, I grab him. It doesn't matter. Just literally baiting your opponent, poking him, blocking, and grabbing, just like that. Just like that, like boom, block, grab. I think there's something, it gets really overlooked. A lot of high-level players do this, where they're really just being patient. Like, they throw a poke, they're negative on purpose, and they're waiting for your opponent to, like, poke you, and then they just grab your opponent. Here's the thing. You're going to want to forward grab all the time. So check this out. Right? Let's say I do that, he techs it. That's not your opponent being like knowing how to tech throws. That's him just mashing. The square tech throws. So that's just one thing to look out for. Forward grabs are the way to go. They can be a little tricky because sometimes when you're blocking, you're ready to go and grab them. If you go forward just a little bit more than you should, which it's gonna happen. Like I'm not gonna bullshit you. It's gonna happen. Your opponent's gonna poke you, especially a Kung Lao player. If Kung Lao is doing his down 3, just do a short hop. And that's another thing. If your opponent does a ton of down 3s or down 4s, your short hop will bypass that. It's pretty good. These are just little things. Like, you're like, what the fuck is this gonna do? Make my character? I believe me, it's gonna take you far with your character. It's just a annoying ass mind game that your opponent has to deal with. Like, some characters don't have overheads. Like Frost, for example, that's for only she does some, but they're just predictable. They're at the end. It's super predictable, right? But if you put it in strings that your opponent would not really, see coming, like for example this one, like who the fuck is gonna think about, short hopping that string? It could throw your opponent off completely. And then how many times, I shit you not, like my opponent thinks I'm gonna grab them, and instead, like I'm just seeing them duck like a fucking idiot. Like they're just ducking, and then okay, I'll take the 9%. Well, it's not 14, but it's something. And then you have to worry about fucking playing your cards right when you wake up. And then there's that. So yeah, mixing those things together, is it gonna make your character better or make you a better player? I honestly have to say yes. I think it's just gonna really throw your opponent off and just let him know, okay, so there's levels to this shit. There's like, wow, I'm really getting caught by fucking like pokes into special moves and fucking short hops, and then I'm getting grabbed after pokes, and it's just it adds up. That's all I have to say. With this shit I'm teaching you, it's gonna add up, believe me. The first two things, short hops and pokes into special moves, I feel like I got in the hang of just being doing that shit comfortably. Like I could do short hops like it's nothing. Like some people say, oh, this is hella hard to do, and sometimes it doesn't come out. I'm comfortable doing it now, but just being patient enough for my opponent to poke and grab them, that's something I'm working on right now. I'll let you bastards know how that goes. So hopefully this helps. Hallelujah, holla back. Check you bastards later. Deuces.